Crypto is hitting Wall Street. Welcome back to another episode of Market Unlocked. This is June 30th. This is the last day of Q2, last day of the month. And the stock market ended up strong.
It closed at record highs today.
Strong. And, not to jump ahead, but if anyone was in the stock chat today, that was funny about Apple. Was it not?
What? Wait, what happened with Apple?
So, just about everything else in the Max 7 was performing hot. 6 out of the 7 were hot. Tesla moving crazy like it always does, but nothing new. So 7 a.m. Pacific time. I drop a line in the chat. I'm like, man, Apple consolidation is one to watch. Big move, bro. Big move brewing, IMO. 3-4 hours later go by, boom, huge move. If you look at the Apple chart, it's been so just compressed for days, just ever since the beginning of April, and it's just been getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and then bang, huge pop today. And for Apple to move 2-3% in a day is a pretty big deal for that name. And it did that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. All right, guys. So as you know, we got to start off with some world news at first. Some crazy stuff and also not that much stuff. Yo, did you hear about those firefighters getting ambushed in Idaho? Someone or someone's lit a fire on purpose.
Sickos.
To ambush firefighters. Killing 2.
Killing 2.
Yeah. Injuring several more. They don't know how many people were involved still, I think. But they're wearing camo. Like, it was planned out. I mean, obviously it's planned out, but like it was like really planned out.
Right.
Insane. My mind goes to places.
What? Why?
In Idaho. This happened 2 days ago.
Was something going on in Idaho?
No.
So just spur of the moment. Group is like, let's attack firefighters.
Yeah.
See, the reason why I got the stock and crypto news covered because I'm always in the trenches, but I stayed away from the world news a bit this week for stuff just like this. It was just getting too much. I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop paying attention to all this stuff. Why?
Dude,
I'm just going to look at my charts. I'm just going to keep getting in shape and keep hanging out.
Dude, the FBI responded immediately too. Sent out all their tactical teams. HRT. The special forces of the FBI. And man, this is like I don't know. Could be terror, could not be terror. Who knows? But that's the craziest thing that happened this past week.
Who's under investigation now as a terrorist?
Who?
Mr. Liver King.
Oh gosh. He's really fell off the deep end. Holy moly.
But if that really is like a manic episode, man, that sucks. That's sucks. Weird. I don't know. Maybe Joe Rogan can just pick up the phone and be like, "Yo, are you good? Are you good, dog?"
Could be manic. Could be a stunt. But
or he's just off the deep end. Anyway, not relevant.
Yeah.
What's up with Middle East conflicts? They still going at it?
It's funny how the moment I put when I put the points that we talk about in, something fires off right after. Okay.
What
Um,
happened?
we got reports of missile attacks on an Iraqi base.
Iraqi or Iran?
Iraqi.
Iraqi base.
Yeah. We have bases in Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
by the way. So um they haven't said who from or who's it's from, but hopefully that doesn't kick off into something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, no negotiations have been made with Iran and Trump.
Mm.
Benjamin Netanyahu, though, is coming to the White House next week. He confirmed that to speak to Trump. So there's that.
Well, the stock market doesn't seem to care. So,
Stock market's over it.
yep, they're over it. They're like,
Priced in.
well, all these wars are gonna be fought with tech and AI anyway, so let's just keep buying this Mag 7 up. By the way, can we just say kudos and tap your backs if you bought the dip 60 days ago when we were screaming it at the top of our lungs? And I know a good majority of you guys bought the dip and bought a lot of stocks up. So you guys should be pumped and proud of yourselves because the market is ripping. Apple should pump more. The market is cooking. Old shit is out, new shit is in. Stuff is changing quick. Harrison said, did Satoshi move some BTC to a new wallet or was that fake news? Well, let me ask you this. Who is Satoshi?
Who's Satoshi, Harrison?
Are we talking about that first wallet that received that first Bitcoin? What's that guy's name that owns that wallet? Oh man, I can't remember his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Like, just like your normal white guy name. God dang it.
Yeah.
What is it? Hold
But
on.
Harrison, are you talking about the wallet that has literally billions and billions and billions, more billions than strategy in Bitcoin?
Which wallet's that?
I literally think it's on
How
Arc.
Finney, duh. So out brain fart. Adam Beck.
Ross. No. Are you talking about Ross Ulbricht? No. Ross Ulbricht, Silk Road guy. You think it was fake news? Seems like fake news. I think I would have seen it pop up on my channels, but I haven't heard of anything. That'd be crazy. That'd actually be like shattering news.
Yeah, I didn't hear about anything, so I don't really want to comment on it. But I know I know people kind of like whenever how Finney moves crypto around.
Yeah.
People always kind of wonder. Where we're going in Switzerland in October, they made a Satoshi statue over there. It's sick. Can't wait to see it in person.
What does Satoshi look like?
He looks like just Iron Man in that statue.
Yeah.
Looks sick. He looks super sick, actually. Really tight. Let's go TRX. Someone said fake news. I don't know. This is a new story to me. I don't want to say fake news. I'm not really exactly sure, so I can't say yes or no. Someone asked, "Am I familiar with Moon Market?" I'm also not familiar with Moon Market.
Oh, Harrison, you know what? I fell down that deep rabbit hole of this guy on YouTube, and he went like super viral, or maybe it was TikTok, and it was just recently, like literally like 2 months ago, of him claiming to be the creator of Bitcoin and everything, and how he developed a new chain. But obviously, to me, it looks like a marketing ploy, and there's no way to validate that. Is the new chain? I know, I know you're talking about. But yeah,
NASCAR, stop
similar.
promoting your penny stock pump group turd. No one cares.
It's obviously a bot. Let me just
No one
let me
cares.
just ban him.
Nerd.
Yeah, little bot action right there.
Little nerd.
Okay, he can't hear you. It's literally a
I
bot.
know. I know. Yeah. I just like saying that.
Oh man. All right. Well,
Yeah.
nothing crazy.
Nope.
Nothing crazy. Well, we'll just run through. Texas allows gold and silver to be used for tender. You could literally go to the store, any store, restaurant, and pay with gold or silver. For some reason, I'm stupid, and I thought we were always be able to do that. But what do I know, right? Anyways,
That's officially passed.
that's passed.
Well, I mean that's yeah. It's like almost like we're going back in time with like doing that.
They got the
But I mean
Bitcoin
it's still
Reserve.
an
Got the
asset, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I personally think it'd be annoying to pay with. Like
It's
how
just
like
RWA gold, real world gold.
mhm. It's like physical gold, which is
Yeah,
actually
heavy.
not as physical gold is not nearly as scarce as Bitcoin.
True story.
That's true.
Well, that's why one Bitcoin costs way more than one brick of gold.
Yeah, or yeah. Um yeah, Neuralink. I've been following these Neuralink updates. Super sick, by the way. Um they're expanding their human trials.
Just a
It's
matter
in
of time.
7 humans. It's in 7 humans right now. But but they got approved to do it in Canada and in United Arab Emirates. Um yeah, I mean, I was watching a video last night of like the whole like keynote update for Neuralink. Like these guys that have like ALS and like severe spinal cord injuries that can't move, paralyzed, some nonverbal, some not,
Mhm.
are playing Call of Duty with each other and Mario Kart with each other without the you ever seen those like machines where people are so paralyzed where they use their mouth with?
Mhm.
Not even that, just their mind. Playing Call
What?
of Duty and Mario Kart, just sitting there like this. Oh damn it, got ya! I don't mean to.
That's crazy.
Sorry, I know that looked really bad.
Nah, dig.
I know that looked bad,
I mean,
but
I thought you were about to use your mic as like the little joystick for a second.
no. But like they were using that looked really bad, but they were what I was trying to completely by their mind. They're playing video games, nothing else. Super sick, super awesome. Um, yeah,
That's tight.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. I feel like I mentioned this a while ago because this did come out a long time ago, but there was this company that was trying to like bridge the gap of like basically human brain to AI, and was
Mhm.
basically saying like when it comes to like computer learning and human learning, the way that we like learn and like program ourselves is like different in the way that we learn, right? So if you let's say taught a person how to make a cup of tea, right? Let's say our house, right?
Yeah.
If that person goes to an Airbnb or to someone else's house and then someone asks them to make them a cup of tea, right? They can figure it out, right? They can check all the different cabinets, find the teapot, find the cups, find the tea, right? Just kind of go through the kitchen and figure it out.
Yeah.
What when it came with doing it with the computer program, right? You that why try not to laugh? What did he do?
Stop.
Ah. When it comes to like computer learning, right? It needs to know every single prompt or every single possibility to try to perform that function. Like
Yeah.
if it's placed in a different setting and it goes to, let's say, get the cups or the tea and it's not in the same place, it's going to have an error versus, okay, let me look at this cabinet or this cabinet instead. And they were basically mixing chips with like brain cells at the time to like try to figure this out. This was like 2-3 years ago. It could have even been
Mm.
longer, but it's just
On
crazy what they're doing.
on another note too, but a very cool part is like, and Elon was saying like how certain and how close we are to this is um well, they already pretty much already figured out how to gain somebody's eyesight back.
Mhm.
Um so that's coming out too. But more so uh having people being able to walk again too, that are like permanently paralyzed, because what they're able to do now is have they'll have two chips, one on your spinal cord, one in your brain, and they'll
Mhm.
be able to bridge those two together, so that creates like a neuron being able to like fire off with each other or something like that. Not a brain surgery, but
So
that's what they said
crazy.
they're about to do. And he was like, I'm absolutely like, I'm probably the most certain I've ever been on something. That's what's going to happen in the next couple of years. Also, one more thing, the
And
the, uh, the
no, go
what?
ahead.
Okay, the Optimus parts on the robots will also be used for people that lose limbs, and those parts will link to your Neuralink, and it'll just like work like an actual arm.
Bro, that kind of spooky AI video that I sent you is gonna happen. Have you guys seen that show, Altered Carbon on Netflix? Like that's where it's like basically your soul is in this disc, which is just like in your spine. What the hell is that? Oh, that's a hole. Whoops. So like there's a disc in your spine, and that's where your soul is, and you can like upgrade your body. You can change your legs. You can get into like a whole new skin. Basically the only way if you die is if like this disc is like blown up. So the only way to kill people in the show is to shoot them in the back of the neck. Like if you shot somebody in the head, then they could just get a new body. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, in like, dude, on Joe Rogan was saying in like 5 to 10 years, we're just gonna be able to live to like 200.
Mm,
Crazy
mm.
stuff.
All right, let's start getting into the juicy stuff now, huh? Stocks, dude. Stocks and crypto are going to be kind of the same today, because like there's the two worlds are starting to mesh into each other. If you guys haven't been paying attention, all right. I mean, we talked about Tron going public. We talked about Gemini going public. We talked about
Circle going public.
Circle's already public. Who else? You got Tron, Gemini, Kraken going public. Old news.
Mm.
But today, and most recently, the world has, or should I say, crypto Twitter has erupted over tokenized stocks. Crypto platforms have now started tokenizing stocks. However, Robinhood today started issuing tokenized stocks and equities in Europe on Arbitrum.
I was just gonna say, did you guys see the ARB chart?
Mm-hmm.
Pumped just like
That's why.
it pumps just like the Robinhood chart.
Now, Jacob Buxton was saying, something about OpenAI. Yes.
He said, "What's up with tokenized stocks on Robinhood?" Was talking about today on their event. They said they're gonna give out SpaceX and OpenAI coins.
Yeah. So this is exactly the same thing that Republic is doing. It's called token mirroring. So Robinhood, obviously an accredited investor, is going to have priority to buy private equity shares of private shares of a private company. So SpaceX, OpenAI, Andril, you name it. And what they're going to do is issue these, and what they're doing is issuing these tokens, these tokenized stocks that kind of mirror the performance of those private shares of those public companies. Of those private companies.
Not kind of to the T, because they're going to
Yeah.
be fully backed.
Yeah. Not
It's
kind
called
of.
a
My bad.
custodial model token. So there's
Yeah.
two kinds. There's the synthetic model and the custodial model. So if you guys go on like BTCC right now, you guys can trade tokenized stocks. But those are synthetic. So you're trading the price of the stock, but you don't actually own the share. It hasn't gone through a clearinghouse. Nada. BTCC does not own the share. If you don't get any what's the word starts with the D? Jesus Christ. Not derivatives. Jesus Christ. It's like when you own a share and you get paid.
It's called
Why can I not think of it right
wow,
now?
why can't I think of it either? Dividend.
What? Yes, thank you. A dividend.
Dividend.
Jesus Christ. Now, even with the fully backed ones, you still don't get a dividend. To my knowledge, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, FTX had this too before. You'll see some of the exchanges have some stocks on there that you can trade the price, but you're not actually like owning the share. And then when you guys do buy it on a tokenized one, it works the same way as if you bought a share. You buy the share, you get credited, but that whole process takes about 2 business days to happen, until your brokerage buys the share, gets the share from the clearinghouse, until it clears the clearinghouse and goes back to the brokerage. It takes about 2 days to settle. Yeah. But with if they start to introduce more and more tokenized stocks, what's cool though is a settlement time is instant, which I mean really doesn't matter, honestly, but it's instant settlement time. I mean, I guess it matters if you're like trading. So for you folks that are trading stocks, if you have under 25K and you're on like a margin account, or even if you're on a cash account, I'm sorry, when you're on a cash account and you sell those stock shares, it takes 2 days for you to be able to use those funds again, unless you're on a margin account, and then you get access to that buying power right away. So I guess the benefit is, if you're on a cash account, then if as soon as you sell, you get access to those funds right away. But this is definitely like a step into this. It's going to take so long until like the whole market goes that way. There's just so many intricacies of shares, and this is, can you imagine all of the new market arbitrage that would come out? Retail would probably get destroyed, because what will happen, and this is a huge thing, and and then why this will take so long to happen is if the crypto market is 24/7 and the tokenized stocks are running 24/7, and then you have your traditional stock market open just from your 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. There's going to be huge discrepancies of open and close times, right? Let's say Friday the market closes Tesla at 330, and then come Monday, because of the tokenized asset trading, Tesla's at like 350. There's going to be a huge arbitrage right there,
They're gonna have to figure
because
something out.
if they're truly doing fully backed tokenized stocks, then there's zero, and I mean zero, way that you can trade the coin and it won't affect the price of the stock. Then it's not fully backed. So
Yeah.
this is a massive undertaking of a process by far, which is why you're seeing them just test the European market. And the reason is because the European market passed MiCA last year, and they have one of the most intense regulations when it comes to crypto. And they're also testing it with private companies right now, right? SpaceX and OpenAI. So for this to be something public is a massive, like, we're talking 10 years plus down the road minimum.
So why you say that, and I'm sure this is more, I'm looking at it, pretty synthetic. Like, you could go on Jupiter, right? There's a company called X Stocks that tokenizes stocks. But you could go on Jupiter.ag right now, right? Jupe.ag. You could take your Solana. You could type in NVDAX, and you could buy NVIDIA right there. So they claim. Kraken uses X stocks. Who else? There's a lot of other partnerships too.
Yeah, it says it's tokenized swaps on Jupiter. You are dealing with assets that are real world equity ownership. Yeah, it says it's fully backed.
That's crazy.
With 60 stocks right now.
Yeah, Amazon, Apple, Bank of America, McDonald's, Chevron, Circle. The list goes on. Coinbase stock. Very, very interesting. Tesla, of course.
Do they can you trade those at any time?
I don't want to give you a for sure answer,
I just
but
got on Jupe, by the way. Sorry, it took a while.
you just got on. I mean,
Yeah.
From the looks of it, I mean,
Why don't
we just try right now?
Yeah, so Jupe.ag, and then you say what?
Jupe.ag. You could either do Solana, USDC, right? Type in for buying NVDAX.
NDVAX.
Yeah. And this is like a super easy way to buy fractionalized shares too, I feel like. And it should have like a little blue.
Fractionalized shares is already out on so many platforms, you know?
Yeah, but this is like seamless. This is like, I want to spend this much.
It is on
one
those
click.
too, though.
You should see a little blue. It should say issued by X stocks. Do you see that?
NVDAX, yeah. I mean, I'm on the page right now. I'm just looking at if there's transactions happening right now.
Oh yeah, I mean there was one 23 seconds ago.
But I'm looking at the candles. The candles are just stuck.
Would this be considered like an after hours buy type deal? And then when it opens, it's like,
see, I don't know, because right now Nvidia is not even $161. It's $158. I mean, let me check after hours real quick. Yeah, it's actually 157.66 at after hours.
This is interesting.
Yeah, and you see the market cap says like 1 million, and liquidity says 480K.
Yeah.
That's why like all this stuff is just so, what's the
I mean,
word?
this market
It's
cap is
just
obviously
too
X
vanilla right
stocks'
now.
market cap. This isn't
Right.
Nvidia's market
Of
cap. This
course.
has to be. It's like X stocks' holdings of whatever.
Mhm.
Um, dude, there's definitely questions that need to be asked and need to be answered for this. To be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, look, it's cool that it's happening. It obviously
Yeah.
means crypto's here to stay, but I think we already know that with everything else going on. So not something that I'd get too crazy about just yet, but let's look at the platforms involved, right? So Robinhood pumped like 12-13% today. R pumped crazy today. And they're both shaping back up for runs. So just look for the pullbacks and just wait for them to run.
Yeah. Yeah. This is totally like an internal like X stock chart, not like an actual Nvidia chart.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I just
But
saw the
again,
candles too.
it just tells me that hey, crypto's here to stay, and we're not going anywhere. And I think everyone in this chat kind of
Yeah.
agrees with
I mean,
that.
dude, it's I think this is cool as the bee's knees, man. You know, I think it's as cool as being printer paper and someone asking me if I was printer paper, where would I be? I think it's that cool too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What?
You didn't hear what I said.
Nope. I was reading Harrison's and Semp's comments. Check the clock. Yeah, Anthony. So you don't own the share if you get it tokenized. Weird, right? And yeah, so it it will definitely bring up some arbitrage opportunities if it goes to its scale. And that's what the stock market does not want. Like they don't want more and more arbitrage. There's all these acts and stuff against that. So all right, moving on. What's
All right.
next, Jay?
Let's talk some strict crypto stuff. Nothing too crazy. You got the
Except
Solana
TRX.
ETF. Yeah. Except for TRX. Solana ETF launching next week. Uh Pangu, the meme coin, is having an ETF come out, which is really nuts.
Okay,
I think Van Eck
ETF
is
coming out, or like this is just BS news, like
I'm pretty sure they have an ETF coming out because because it
or
used
filed for an ETF.
no, because I think they filed for a while back, and I'm pretty sure Van Eck is supplying the ETF for Pangu. Well, let's double check, shall we?
Pangu ETF. See that's the kind of shit that just is silly.
Okay, ETF filing, ETF filing, ETF
Mm,
filing, ETF filing.
there we go. Yeah,
Is it
that
going to be silly when they get approved down the road?
no chance.
Up Team Pango chat. Arthur hates Pangu, hates
What
everything
do you mean?
anti.
I'm freaking long Pangu right now, but I'm also like I said, I'm not retarded.
Come on, dude.
And if you look at the filing news sources, it's
Why would it
very very
surge
questionable.
60%? Somebody knows something.
Why? What do you mean? Have you not seen Eric Trump tweeting about Pengu?
No, I don't accept Eric Trump as a Pangu holder. He's just at that
Well,
point
you can thank him for the pump. He's pumping his own bags. Dude, the this news article about Pengu with its ETF filing is coming from like scam sources.
so you want Pengu to fail is what I'm hearing. Like
I
what
I could care less
Okay, you hate
if
Pengu. We get
Pengu
it.
does good or not, but I'll trade that chart. I'll trade that chart. Why do we need an ETF about a meme coin? Why? Tell me
Why not?
logically
It's more
why.
than a meme coin, Arthur. It's more than a meme coin. It's
Oh,
a
you
lifestyle.
know
It's a
what? You're right.
lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
You're right. No, it's not a lifestyle. They do have toys at Walmart. So you could base the performance of the company off the revenue of the toys. So if the toys are
What
doing
is
good, then you're betting on the toy company. But no
what does
toy
TRX
company has
have?
an ETF, does it?
They don't.
Not that I know of. Not like a specific ETF for a toy company. Now they may be in some, diverse
God,
ETF.
you're so. Oh my God, you just hate
Am I
Pengu.
talking like a boomer?
Yes, because like Pengu's so much more than that. You got to understand, and let me give you some analytics here.
Yeah,
And,
so were the cool cats at one point. Ooh, too low?
listen, buddy. Like anybody could say fucking whatever when years go by and then it goes south. They're like, "Oh, told you so. Oh, told you so." But when it's pumping hard and you're like, "Fuck, I should have bought it. Fuck, I should have bought it," and then you're like, "Told you so." When it dies later, then it's an issue. But what I'm saying is, abstract layer 2 did the most volume the past 2 months than any other layer 2. The ecosystem is thriving. Pengu's the ecosystem token of that layer. But just the IP itself, the Pudgy Penguin IP. Did you
It's
know?
cute.
Did you know that Pudgy Penguin meme is the most like in the Instagram sticker thing is the most used sticker on Instagram?
I didn't know that.
The IP is strong.
Dude, it still doesn't mean it deserves an ETF.
Of course it doesn't.
See? Thank you. That's all I wanted you to say.
Dude, bro.
I'm not going to support. I have to watch my words. I'm not going to support idiotic stuff
Listen,
in the crypto space.
I'll say it
I'm
myself.
just not.
I don't think meme coin should have an ETF in general. I don't think Dogecoin should have an ETF. I don't think Mod Coin should have an ETF. Maybe, but yeah,
Stop. Nah. Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, even just Bitcoin and ETH only.
What would you do if it got approved, though? I'm just asking.
I would move on with the world. That's it. It would be absolutely ridiculous.
Just be like,
Absolutely ridiculous.
you thought it, you knew about the financial system. You don't know about it anymore.
You know what?
I don't know what's
That
real
happens. When that happens, that's my time to hang up the hat, retire, and just trade alone.
Whoa, relax.
Trade my boomer stuff. Trade my
Whoa.
Bitcoin.
I need to feel it. I need to touch it. I need to know it's real.
all that ETF news, I think is just stories to help drive up the current price, because now you're seeing this news after it pumps crazy. Price drives the narrative, as we say.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, who's Venati Coffee? I've never heard of this brand in my life, but apparently they got $1 billion to spend on Bitcoin.
Everybody wants to be a Bitcoin treasury company, dude.
Who's Venati Coffee? Who do they own? Any coffee connoisseurs here?
I buy Starbucks. I don't know shit. Do you know, or you just?
I have no idea.
Oh, I don't know. It just sounded like
I just know that they bought I just know that they bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin.
The other philosophy is just right. You buy Bitcoin on your company so you don't take the tax hit.
Speaking of tax hit, big beautiful bill, guys. It got some amendments. And one of
Amendments.
those amendments was Bitcoin and crypto taxes.
Mm.
Let's hope.
Did they say what the amendment was?
No, they didn't go into detail. Jordan, one of our best friends, thinks we're gonna get railed on it. You know, I just
He's just being a hater, Jordan.
yeah.
If you're listening, screw you.
It's hard for me to think that it'd be bad since like the government's so pro crypto, but we've been getting duped lately. What if it's some stupid corpo BS tax break for crypto and nothing for retail?
What do you mean for crypto, not for retail?
No, corporate.
Oh, corporate and not retail.
Yeah.
Just gonna have to
We have to wait and see.
wait and see.
By the way, dude, futures and perps are coming to the US finally too. About time.
Is it super limited though?
If knowing Coinbase, it probably is probably gonna go out in phases, right? But I don't see why Coinbase Pro wouldn't be like full scale, like Mexi or Bybit, stuff of that nature. As far as like, I think it'd be
Risk.
very risk adverse, yeah. And you know how Coinbase is when it comes to listing stuff; they are not quick to do it, right? They really, I mean, they have to, they really take their time before they bring a token on to trade, perpetually, especially, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing too. Oh wait, you said it was going to be for U.S. folks too, on there.
No, yeah, it's for U.S. Yeah, Coinbase to launch U.S. perp style futures.
I know crypto.com allowed perps, but not for the U.S. Like it was super banned up for most places.
Yeah.
As we see this regulation come more and more, it should be easier and easier. EU was the most strict, and now we're seeing the tokenization of SpaceX and OpenAI.
Dude, we forget that we come from. Yeah, go ahead.
They passed a lot of extreme regulation there, and a lot of regulation for stable coins, just making sure that the stable coins are backed.
Yeah.
I low key, I still kind of get the heebie jeebies from USDT here and there, just to keep a large amount in it.
For the longest time too, like there's the conspiracy that USD is going to collapse at any second. How it's just like straight up propped up bullshit.
The whole Evergrande real estate whole debacle.
So I mean,
I haven't heard that freaking story in a while, but that's what everyone talked about for a bit.
People are sick. How they come up with this shit is mind blowing. But just to remind everybody, don't forget, like what we're seeing now is truly amazing, because we come from a time where we had a embodiment in the SEC that absolutely hated crypto, and was doing everything to absolutely destroy it and neuter it, like literally neutered it in every way possible in the US for years and years and years, right? When crypto takes a little bit of a dip, people start crying, oh my God, I wish Gary Gensler was back. Shut the fuck up, dude. Gary Gensler hated all of you. I think you guys just need to give it a shot of what's to come, because I think it's just better for all of us in the long run.
In other news, MicroStrategy's getting sued.
Yeah. To be honest,
what's up?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but did you look into it? This whole lawsuit is silly nilly, and it's not going to happen.
I thought there were 6 different lawsuits, no? Or 5.
I'm talking about the main one, the one that's going for the $6 billion lawsuit, the 5.2 billion plus some other crap.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the reason why they're getting sued is because the people suing them are saying that they weren't told like the right amount of risk that Bitcoin is, and that MicroStrategy, quote unquote, downplayed the risks. Now, I could, like, knowing the way that Michael Saylor talks, maybe I could see that, him saying, oh man, Bitcoin's the only asset. All it does is go up.
He literally says Bitcoin comes from Jesus Christ himself.
No, he doesn't.
I heard it. Anyways, go on. I heard it out of his mouth, but whatever.
Did you?
He said something about God and Bitcoin and how they correlate with each other, but yeah.
It's a part of the Fibonacci sequence, probably. That's why. So it's because of this tax code. So I'm just gonna read it off because I don't have it memorized. It's because of the ASU 2023-08 fair value model tax code, which during the time that the people want to basically like sue MicroStrategy for is from like Q1 to basically Q1 of last year. Is because so MicroStrategy used what's called the impairment model when it came to reporting, because before the let me bring up the right codes just so I don't screw up the codes. I don't want to screw up the codes. There we go. All right. Yeah. So, okay, with the ASC 8020, basically Bitcoin wasn't looked at like an asset. It was looked at like an intangible good. So the way that you report that is actually pretty interesting. So let's say you buy the asset at 50K, right? You have to report that you bought it at 50K. Now, when the asset goes up, you actually don't report that as income. Now, when the asset goes down, then you report that as a loss. So it was good in the fact that MicroStrategy only had to report the prices that it first bought at, right? Every purchase. So, let's say they bought it 50K and Bitcoin went up to 100K, and then let's say it dipped to 70K. It's still showing, even if a calendar year passes, it still shows that they bought that at 50K, and then it won't show as a loss. So if you've gone down from 100K to 70K in one quarter, that's a 30K loss. But with these rules that were in law before, if you bought Bitcoin at 50K, it went up to 100K, and the next quarter it's now at 70K, you don't report a loss, but you also don't report making anything off the 50K to the 100K. And that was also bad for them too, is that when Bitcoin did pump, it basically kind of represented like a like false, like a false bad time for MicroStrategy when there actually wasn't. So now it basically got passed into where it'll be treated normally. They bought at 50K. If it goes up to 100K on their earnings, they made 50K, right? And then if it goes down to to 70K, then on the next earnings, right? If it's in the next quarter, they have to report that as a loss. Whereas before, it would only get reported as a loss if it went under their buying price. So I don't think this lawsuit is going to stick because the laws before are different than the laws now. The only thing that can probably stick is maybe them, winning the fact that the way that MicroStrategy sold them on investing was that it was going to be maybe like a low risk. But that loss is going to be silly because next week it's going to be 120K. I mean, I just think that, but that's the
Like, oh my
breakdown of
god,
that lawsuit.
I sued you on accident. I'm sorry. Let me.
Oh my God, I made you all this money.
Oh my god, I sued you on accident. Accidentally fired that off. Let me retract it.
Yeah, man, I wish I brought some water too. But yeah, that's why I don't think that's really gonna stick too much. All right, is that all we got on news? I think so.
That's it, man. We've
That's it.
touched
All right.
everything.
I got some questions to answer.
Do you?
Yeah. Ooh, DK&G was on tape today.
Oh man, startup. I wasn't even watching. Startup is wait, hold on. Startup is moving right now. Is it moving more? Oh my gosh, let's open. Hold on. Okay. Look, startup, baby, guys. We went through hell and back with startup, right? We held through the tough times. We held through the good times. We're back at the good times. We're not losing sight of our vision. I'm not.
Okay. I got a question to answer for Harry. Mr. Mallon asked, I've been curious, how did you guys come up with Thanos and Blast strategies?
Oh yeah,
Specifically, what led you to use the EMAs you chose? I get that the Fibonacci numbers tie back to nature, but it's wild how well they seem to work on charts. Next part of the question was, when price crosses all EMAs, what makes that setup so reliable for a potential pop? I'd love to hear more about the philosophy behind how you built these strats. Also, have you ever tried quantifying the probability of success for these setups? What kind of confirmation are you looking for when it triggers? Do you add micro factors, news headlines, or any other secondary filters for convictions? You could just erase news headlines from your brain completely. But let's dive in. So the first part, what led you use to the EMAs that you chose? Well, the 8 EMA, also known as the T-line, was a concept put together by a very well-known trader who's now passed away, unfortunately, but you can still find his videos on YouTube, and they're probably some of the best, although monotone and slow pace trading videos that you'll ever find on YouTube. Just look up Steve Bigelow. He created the concept of using the 8 EMA and using it as a T line on the daily. The reason why he called it the T line was because it was the trigger line. It was basically when it would trigger him to buy and sell. Basically, if you close stocks or crypto above the 8 EMA T line, it's a good trigger sign that it's a good buy and it's going to keep going up. And he even had this thing that he calls, like, for example, if you look at Pengu and you look at Pengu on the 1 hour, that whole move up, those are what's called like steady eddies. It's basically when a candle opens and closes on the 8 EMA and it keeps riding the 8 EMA. He calls those steady eddies. I like to call it this. I like to call it the Silver Surfer because you're just riding the 8 EMA line, which is white or like silver. Plus, it sounds way cooler. And then a couple lives ago, I had talked about moon phases, and I talked about how a money manager who's managing, 8-9 figure portfolios uses moon phases to trade. And I was telling you guys how there are several world-class hedge funds, and then institutions, your Goldman Sachs, those things. Their traders trade Fibonacci's, their traders trade moving averages. They trade a lot of the simple stuff that we trade. You would be astonishingly surprised. I think S&B Capital is the most like vocal about this, and they say some of their best traders will look at cup and handles. Some of their best traders will look at bull flags, at pennants. They'll look at moving averages. They'll look at Fibonacci's. The whole goal of trading is to keep it simple. So when there's these strategies that worked, and it's kind of that like secret club, right? Once you get the formula, you're like in the club. So when the reason why we have the 50 and the 200 MA and why that's a part of Thanos is because all money managers look at the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving averages. So those are very strong moving averages that I like to keep and have on my chart. And just one of the huge things that I struggled with after learning Blastrat was, how do I find my price targets? And that's where the 50, the 200 came in, because I knew money managers also monitored the 50 and the 200. So those would probably be good price points to also maybe take profit or sell, etc. So I studied all the candles and how often they would hit those moving averages more than the others. And Blaster was the one that taught me the 34. And I don't want to go into too much of Blaster's history on a live, but Blaster came from a professional background. He came from Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs uses a lot of EMAs in their trends, maybe like the 34 and the 144, maybe. So stuff like that is used. So Blaster told me about the 34, the 8, and the 144. I found the 89 myself. And then I added the 50 and the 200. And then I just watched how often price action would get close to those levels. And I just did back tests, and I did back tests and back tests and back tests to study more and more to see if it worked. And then Thanos strategy really came up. That name came up the first year that I was teaching it. I got so sick and tired of explaining, okay, if you open and close above the 34, look at the moving averages above you. If the 50 MA it is above you, that's your target. If the 89 EMA is above you, that's your target. If the 144 EMA is above you, that's your target. Okay, first target, you get to the 89 EMA, and then you go to the 144 EMA. At the end of it, people are like, what the hell are you talking about? EMA, MA, what's the 144? What's 89? What does 89 mean? What does 144 mean? Why do these numbers count? Yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I got to think of a better way to teach this shit. And then all of a sudden, the analogy came to me. Okay, I was teaching someone. I was like, hey, did you ever watch the movie Avengers? They're like, yeah, for sure. I was like, do you remember Thanos? He's like, yeah, for sure. He goes, I was like, do you remember of what Thanos's goal the whole film was? He's like, yeah, to kill everyone, basically. I was like, well, yeah, that too. But his goal was to go and get every colored stone in the movie, right? That's how he got stronger and stronger. He went and collected his stones. Us as traders, you want to make money, you got to collect all these lines, all these stones. This is your goal. So Thanos, right? If he sees the blue stone is the closest stone to him, he's going for that one. When the purple stone is the next closest one to him, he's going for that one. So you, as a trader, once you get your glove, which is the blast strat, the 8 and 34, I called that I just called that the glove. Once you get your glove, your goal is to go and collect every other stone, collect every other line. And as you go and collect every stone, you get more and more bullish, just like just like in the movie. When Thanos got every single stone, he got stronger and stronger. Us as traders, when we collect every single line, we get more and more bullish and bullish. So once Thanos collects all the stones, he's the most strong, right? That's when he's a badass. When you look at stocks and crypto, when all the moving averages have been crossed, you get that big pop because what are moving averages, right? They are the average that that asset has been traded. So when you're looking at the daily chart, let's say, right? And you're trading above the 8 EMA, the 34 EMA, the 89, the 50, the 200, the 144. You're trading above the average price of all time frames, short time frames and long time frames. So when the average price gets higher than all of the average prices traded in the past, it creates that influx, right? It just means that people are paying for something way more now than the average it was in the past, right? So if you're trading above every moving average, that means that people are paying more for this asset than they were in the past on average. If you're trading above the 200 and every other average, it means that you're trading at a higher average price than average in history. So it just means people are buying more shit at a higher price on average. So it's going to go up. Now, if you're below every moving average, it's trading below all of the average time frames. So people don't want it anymore. So they're selling it off, selling it off, selling it off. And then as far as quantifying the probability of the success, now I haven't quantified it, but I've traded the shit out of it, and I just made $1 million off of ETH on it. So I think that's fucking quantified enough right there. Bang.
Wow.
I've been trading the Thanos shit for 5 fucking years. So yeah, that's the quantified that I've done on it. What kind of confirmation am I looking for when it triggers? I'm just looking for a blast strat entry, and I'm just trading those targets. Do I add any other macro factors? That's a good question. One thing that I always look for, what's Bitcoin and ETH doing? When I'm trading crypto, when I'm looking at the stock market, what's the S&P 500 and what's the NASDAQ doing? This kind of goes back to what I was saying. If you look at any asset on the daily time frame, and let's say it's bullish, any shorter time frame trade you do 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour, if it's bullish, you have a higher probability of that trade hitting. Vice versa, if you look at a chart and the daily time frame is bearish, you have a higher chance of shorting on lower time frames for it to work. Now, when you're looking at Bitcoin and ETH and you're trading crypto, think of it the same way. If Bitcoin and ETH are also bullish, I automatically have that little extra that little extra factor that will probably make my other bullish trades work. And then again, in the stock market, if I'm looking at the stock market, if I'm trading tech, if I'm trading Nvidia, if I'm trading if I'm trading Nvidia, if I'm trading Tesla, Apple, if I look at the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq is bullish, it means that my tech stocks are more likely to be bullish and be more successful. I think of Ethereum kind of like the Nasdaq, because when ETH runs, all the altcoins run, and Ethereum is the technology smart contract of cryptocurrency. And then I look at Bitcoin as like the S&P 500, kind of like the Mac Daddy. When Bitcoin runs, it kind of has an effect on everything. When I'm looking at the S&P 500 and it's super strong, it kind of has an effect on like everything. And then when the Nasdaq is super strong, you see tech just crush it. I hope that answers your question.
I think that answered more than the question, but yeah, that was fantastic.
All right. Well, let me know if you got more questions. I'm here to answer them. You guys see my brain start to fire off when it's cool topics. No other questions?
Going once, going twice.
All right. We'll see you guys on Tradable. Oh, time out. TRX is pushing higher. Pengu, just hit new highs. I'm sorry, not new all-time highs. Just broke the previous high.
Probably because their
Leverage
ETF is
deals
getting
on that.
approved.
Hey, I didn't get a message on here.
Oh yeah, from a what?
Duh.
From a BB duh?
Uh-huh.
What you say? From a
Uh-huh.
BB duh?
Uh-huh. All right, guys. I gotta go. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you guys on the trade floors. Let's go TRX. Diamond hands it.
Peace out, y'all.